Most people get this wrong when trying to start a company in China. They think it is just about registering a business online and opening a bank account. But here's the truth, no one tells you. China has one of the most structured and strict company registration systems in the world, and if you miss even one legal step, your entire setup can get delayed for months or even rejected completely. And here's the surprising part. Most foreign entrepreneurs don't fail because their business idea is bad. They fail because they don't understand the legal structure in China from the beginning. In this video, you're going to learn exactly how to start a company in China step by step in 2026. You will understand the legal structures, the real registration process, banking requirements, taxes, and the exact mistakes to avoid so you don't waste time or money. And stay with me, because in a minute, I will show you the easiest company structure foreigners use to legally operate in China without getting stuck in complicated approvals. Let's start from the very beginning. If you want to start a company in China, the first thing you must understand is that China does not treat all businesses the same. Your structure depends on what you plan to do. There are three main options. You can set up a wholly foreign-owned enterprise, also known as a WFO. You can form a joint venture with a Chinese partner. Or you can open a representative office, which is limited in activity. Now here's where most people make their first mistake. They choose the wrong structure because they copy what someone else did online. But what works for one business does not always work for another. Let's break this down in simple terms. A WFO is the most popular option for foreign entrepreneurs. It allows you full control of your business. You can invoice clients, hire employees, and generate profit legally inside China. A joint venture means you partner with a Chinese company or individual. This is often required in regulated industries like media, education, or automotive services. A representative office is the most limited option. It cannot make direct profit in China. It is usually used for market research or brand presence. Now here's the key point. For most foreign entrepreneurs watching this, the WFO is usually the best option. But it still requires careful planning. Now let's move into the actual step-by-step process. The first step is company name approval. This might sound simple, but in China, it is a legal process. You cannot just pick any name you like. Your company name must be approved by the local administration for market regulation. Here's how it works in practice. Let's say Alex from the UK wants to start a trading company in Shanghai. He cannot just register Alex Trading Limited. He must submit multiple name options in Chinese format, and each one must follow strict naming rules. Now here's where it gets interesting. If your name conflicts with an existing company, or uses restricted words, it gets rejected immediately. That means you have to start again from scratch. Once your name is approved, you move to the second step, which is business scope definition. This is one of the most important parts of the entire process, and most people underestimate it. Your business scope defines what your company is legally allowed to do in China. For example, you cannot just say consulting and trading and assume it covers everything. China requires specific wording. Now, here's the problem. If your business scope is too narrow, you may not be able to expand later without re-registering. If it is too broad, your application may be delayed or questioned by authorities. So you must balance precision with flexibility. Next comes the third step, which is registered capital. This is another area where people get confused. Registered capital is not always money you must pay up front, but it is the amount you declare your company is worth. For example, John from the US might register a WFO with 100,000 USD capital. But here's the key point. China now uses a subscription system in many regions, meaning you don't always need to deposit the full amount immediately. But here's the catch. Some industries still require actual capital verification. So you must check your specific industry rules before deciding. Now let's move to the fourth step, which is office address registration. In China, you cannot register a company with just a virtual idea. You need a physical registered address. This is mandatory. This is where most foreign founders get stuck. They try to use residential addresses or unapproved virtual offices, and their application gets rejected. The address must be in a commercial zone and approved for business registration. In cities like Shanghai, Shenzhen, or Beijing, there are even specific industrial parks that offer legal registered address services for foreign companies. Now here's something important. The address you choose can affect your tax rate and approval speed. So don't rush this step. Next comes the fifth step, submitting legal documents. This includes your passport copy, business plan, company structure, director details, and application forms. Everything must be translated into Chinese and notarized in many cases. Now here's where things often slow down. Even a small translation error can delay your approval for weeks. So companies usually hire local agents or legal consultants to handle this process. Now let's move to the sixth step, which is obtaining your business license. Once everything is approved, you will receive your official business license from the Chinese government. This is your legal proof that your company exists. But here's the important part. Getting the license is not the end. It is just the beginning. Because after this, you still need to complete banking, tax registration, and operational setup. Now let's talk about the seventh step, opening a corporate bank account. This is one of the most critical stages. Without a Chinese bank account, your company cannot operate properly. Banks in China are very strict. They will require your business license, legal representative presence, company stamp, and sometimes even a physical inspection. Now here's something most people don't expect. The legal representative usually must visit the bank in person. Remote setup is very limited. And this is where many foreign founders slow down their process. Because scheduling bank appointments and approvals can take time. Now let's move to taxes. Once your company is active, you must register with the tax bureau. China has several types of taxes including VAT, corporate income tax, and sometimes local surcharges. Now here's where it gets interesting. Tax rates in China can vary depending on your company size, industry, and location. Some small businesses qualify for reduced tax rates or incentives in special economic zones. But here's the mistake many people make. They ignore tax compliance in the beginning and only focus on registration. That leads to penalties later. So always set up proper accounting from day one. Now let's talk about hiring employees. If your company is a WFO, you can legally hire local employees in China. But you must follow labor laws strictly. This includes contracts, social insurance, and payroll reporting. For example, if Jake hires a marketing manager in Shanghai, he must register that employee with the social insurance system and contribute monthly payments. Now here's something important. Labor laws in China are strict, but very structured. If you follow the system correctly, it becomes predictable and stable. Now let's discuss timeline. On average, company registration in China takes 4 to 12 weeks depending on the city and business type. But here's the truth. Delays usually happen because of documentation errors, not because of the government itself. So if everything is prepared correctly, the process is much faster. Now let's go over common mistakes that slow people down. First mistake is choosing the wrong business structure. Second mistake is using incorrect business scope wording. Third mistake is not preparing translated documents properly. Fourth mistake is ignoring local regulations in specific cities. And fifth mistake is not planning banking requirements early. Now let's bring everything together. Starting a company in China in 2026 is absolutely possible, and thousands of foreign entrepreneurs do it successfully every year. But success depends on preparation, not speed. If you choose the right structure, prepare your documents properly, and follow the legal process step by step, you can build a fully operational company in one of the world's biggest markets. Now here's your quick summary. You start with choosing the right company structure like a WFO. Then you get your company name approved. Next, you define your business scope carefully. After that, you secure a registered address. Then you submit documents and get your business license. After that, you open your bank account and complete tax registration. Finally, you can legally hire employees and operate your business. And here's the final insight. Most people think China is complicated, but in reality, it is just structured. Once you understand the system, it becomes very logical and predictable. If you found this guide helpful, make sure you like the video, drop a comment with your business idea, and subscribe for more step-by-step global company formation guides. Because in the next video, I'll break down how to open a company in Dubai and compare it with China so you can choose the best option for your business.